That's what I said the first time I saw Home Alone.
No notes. We've nitpicked a little along the way. We've found fault. As much as I say it's a perfect film, we've found things that go, don't know about that one.
It only took 35 years to accumulate I don't know.
This one individual second of this film, not crazy about.
Do you ever see those visualizations of the different episodes from like a series, like the IMDb ratings?
Yeah, where the ratings have sort of trended over the years.
Right, where you look at like The Office and you'd be like, man, season 2 and 3 are just killing it. And then it kind of falls off at the end. I would be interested to see some kind of qualitative rating for us as we rank this to like get a sense for like which ones we're warmer on.
Which minutes that we like more than others.
Right. Like just a 1 to 5, a 1 to 10.
Yeah. We just ride a dial as we watch the movie. I got to think that you and I are bigger fans of these earlier minutes where everything is all the dominoes are getting set up so perfectly. And I even had this thought rewatching the 12th minute, which we're talking about this episode, about how it's just sort of like, it's in a groove. I think for the past couple minutes, like we had a whole minute in the kitchen. We've got those sort of like these longer sequences. The first couple minutes are so rapid fire. There's so much to talk about and think about and look at. And now we're in a nice groove where there's plenty for us to look at and analyze, but it's our episodes are getting a little shorter for a reason.
It's the difference between doing what you have to do and doing what you want to do. So those early minutes are the setup for the things you want to do later. Like the first 10 minutes of a movie is the cold plunge in the morning.
You do a cold plunge every morning?
Not every morning.
How many mornings? You said not every morning, like no mornings.
I'll be honest. Like a morning a week.
Do you keep the water out? Do you have a cold plunge area of your home? Is there a pond out back?
What do you think? I'm made of ice? What's the thing you say you're made of when you talk about not being able to afford a proper cold plunge?
I don't know.
Because made of money is old hat.
Sounds like you just don't care about the tremendous physical benefits of a cold plunge.
No, that's just it. I care enough to do it more than I did it before, which was none.
I've always thought that your greatest weakness is caring too much about cold plunges.
It will be my downfall. So in minute 12, what happens? Or wait, should I try and get better at this? Maybe it's unwise to do this for our listeners who would benefit from just having you recap it. But for my personal growth.
Yeah, you said a few episodes that I do a better job. And I don't think so. In fact, when I edit these things, I realize how many things you notice that I didn't notice. So please, you can call it practice. I'm just going to call it your turn. Jerod, what happens in minute 12 of Home Alone?
Minute 12. I would say that we have 2 buckets.
Yes.
In minute 12, we have the exodus from the kitchen has already taken place. We've got some tipping that's already taken place. And the sort of first bucket is Kate turning from that pizza interaction to a police interaction. Or so she thinks. She explains to them that they're going to Paris, and he's like, perfect, give me every detail. Then she drags Kevin upstairs for the second bucket of actions where she's telling Kevin that he needs to get further upstairs because he needs to go to the third floor. Question mark, question mark, exclamation point, exclamation point. And after some pleading, he still has to go upstairs.
I think he marches up 3 stairs by the time minute 12 is at its end.
Yeah, he marches up 3 stairs, turns around, and then has much to say.
So let's start with bucket 1, the foyer bucket.
Can I just really quickly say that I enjoyed hearing you say bucket 1 because it made me think of WGN's own Bozo the Clown, where he would play that game with the kids and he'd go, bucket 1!
The grand prize game.
So good.
What a fitting memory as we're watching Home Alone, which takes place in the Chicago area. I bet Kevin was a pretty big Bozo the Clown fan.
You have to believe that family has watched that with regularity and might have even gone to a taping.
Definitely. The McAllisters have been to the Bozo the Clown show taping. Absolutely.
So, bucket 1, foyer.
What'd you win for the first bucket? It was like a candy bar or something?
Yeah, it ramped up, though. It ramped up pretty quickly. Like, bucket 3 was, at least in my recollection, something equivalent to like an Atari.
Or a bike or something like that.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Was one of the buckets just cash? At some point, did you just win $100?
I think so.
Was that the last bucket, or was the last bucket really extravagant, like you're going to Disney World?
Yeah, the last one felt like an adventure. So I think it was like cheap stuff, expensive stuff, cash, grand prize.
The game ended when the player either missed a bucket or hit all 6 of them. In the latter case, he or she won a cash bonus, a bicycle, and in later years, a trip. Anyone who missed the first bucket was allowed to keep trying until he or she hit it and won that prize. I do remember that. I do remember every now and then they had like a completely inept, athletically deficient kid, and they're just missing the first bucket. And Bozo's like, I ain't got time for this, but throw it again.
Oh, he did a much better job than I would have, being like, no, this is great. Keep trying.
Well, he's got time to fill, right? It's like the Krusty the Clown thing. It's the tightest 3 hours in television.
Hang on, kid. I got a tag in my head.
All right. So Kate's talking to Harry, the disguised police officer. I believe minute 11 ended right after he said, like, you guys having a family reunion or something. And here we kind of get 2 things going on at once. We get Kate with a masterful exposition dump. Like, she rails off like the whole family's deal, Rob being in Paris and them going to Paris. It's all the exposition, answers a lot of questions that we have as the audience. It fills Harry in on the silver tuna being unoccupied starting tomorrow. And it also gives us this moment between Kevin and Harry where he smiles down at him and Kevin notices the tooth. Someone's got to be saying something while he notices the tooth, and it's Kate explaining what's going on here. It's so good because all of that's happening all at once. It happens in about 4 to 5 seconds.
And it's all very believable. It's all some very, and I don't just mean the content of the exposition, the family dynamics, and my husband's brother was transferred to Paris and his kids are still going to school here. Like, that itself is believable. Her saying all of that is also believable.
Yeah. She's kind of like letting off her own steam valve here.
Right.
She's taking a breath for herself. this is why this is wild. This is why I have to only have one kid out of control. This one here is a little out of sorts, which is a great line, but it also is like, I'm doing okay. I'm 1 for 11 in terms of awful kids. Not bad.
Well, and he's so not out of sorts that she can pause mid-punishment, like tip the pizza guy, explain some things to this cop.
I will say, Kevin did it. I think he did it once in the previous minute. We didn't talk about it, but he does it once or twice in this minute too, where he sort of like jerks his arm away from Kate.
He's tugging.
Yeah, he's getting like a get off me kind of thing, which again, so bratty. I would never do that. That attitude that he's got here.
Which only gets worse when we go upstairs, but we'll save that.
Yes. That's bucket number 2, the wiffle ball set, the Bozo the Clown wiffle ball set.
So when I was taking some notes earlier, I heard a line in my head, which I don't actually remember who wrote it. I don't know if it was you or Peter or me or some combination, but the exclamation of shiny gold tooth.
Yes. In our song, Wet Bandits. Those early Home Alone songs were definitely just written by memory.
Yes.
I remember writing those, not having seen Home Alone in a minute.
Yeah, we didn't do any research before.
And I definitely didn't verify that everything I was writing was actually said or happened in the movie. I was just sort of going off my own recollections. So there are a few like slight variations of lines and stuff, but when writing a song about the Wet Bandits, that shiny gold tooth is such an important indicator that it just had to be a line, just shiny gold tooth.
Well, like I say, this is sort of the blessing side of the double-edged sword that is a garbage memory, in that I'm disconnected enough to where I don't 100% know what I wrote and didn't write, so I can actually be like, that's a great line. Maybe someone else wrote it. And I just heard it when that bing.
Yeah.
I'm like, shiny gold tooth. It's just a very exciting moment.
I'll say that what I always misremember and have to remind myself every time I watch this movie, and I watch it all the time, is that I always think that Kevin notices the shiny gold tooth as they're going upstairs and Harry's still talking to him. He's saying like, hey, don't worry, I spoke to your husband already, which is a weird line. And don't worry about your home, it's in good hands.
Mm-hmm.
And he smiles. And even in the script, it points out his gold incisor at that moment. But we saw it bing earlier when Kate was talking. And that's a better place for it. And we get it as a visual indicator as they're walking up the stairs, but Kate and Kevin don't look back. It's always in my head that Kevin's looking back here suspiciously at this police officer, but all that happens in that one moment when Kate's explaining everything. It's just that back and forth of he smiles, there's the bing of the tooth, and Kevin just looks back at him, like just sort of gives him a side eye. And then it's back to Kate, and you're taking her to Paris.
Excellent. That's exactly what. And again, sort of the content of the exposition, there's also a bit of this projection as well, because she's saying like, she's talking about like the kids are still going to school here, which again is believable. She's saying like giving us a trip to Paris so that we can all be together for the holidays. And even if sweet, sweet Uncle Rob did mean that, like her saying that about it is kind of her take on it. And I find that to be sweet and believable. There was a line though that stood out to me, and she said, We hope to leave tomorrow morning. Who says that?
Maybe it's just an older expression. That'll be my justification of it. Like God willing, we're leaving tomorrow.
It does feel vintage.
Yeah, that's what I'll go with. But yeah, you're right. It is some.
Well, same with out of sorts. I don't see any modern parent saying this one is a little out of sorts.
It's a lovely understatement to what's going on. Kevin's more than a little out of sorts.
Yeah. But the home, my maybe fifth or sixth favorite character in this film, is in good hands.
This is also, as we transition from bucket 1 to bucket 2, and we travel sort of up the stairwell with Kate and Kevin, we get a lot of red and green. We get a lot of plants. We get a lot of framed pictures. And we get...
Of Dad with glasses.
I think it is weird that they have pictures of the parents, like individual portraits of the parents on the wall.
Never seen it.
Never, ever. Who does that? That's weird. But what I was going to say is that we see so much wallpaper. There's like 4 different patterns of wallpaper in this minute. The entryway,
and they're all holiday themed.
Yeah, they're all red and green. But various like floral patterns and paisleys and stuff, like
it's not stripes. It's not even simple wallpaper.
The foyer, as people in Georgia would call it, the foyer. It's got its own
like
pattern.
Dave Coulier.
The stairwell has its own. Like the upper part has its own, and the third floor, when they open up that door to the stairwell, it's got its own wallpaper, which is another thing I want to talk about. But there's a lot of production design going on because the camera travels up with Kate and Kevin here, and we get a pretty big view of a small area of this house.
And I'm going to say a bit of good idea, bad idea vibes is the unsung hero and oversung hero here is that whole department, because there is a lot of work put in there. But then also, like you say, the singles photos of the parents just by themselves, it makes me uneasy.
It is weird. What I do love is once they get upstairs, there's that little table,
mm-hmm.
and just a picture of Buzz.
Well, and it's right outside of his room, I believe, which is even better.
Yeah, like Buzz just watches Kevin sleep all the time.
Well, he's just there as he's that meme, right? The guy who stands in front of the door with the sunglasses.
I don't know that one.
I'll just call it bouncer meme, door bouncer meme. I don't know. If you Google something like that, you'll find it.
No, I'm looking at it now. I've never seen this guy before.
He's like blocking, and then he allows you in.
It's like a 2-panel. Like, no, you can't come in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess I will let you in. It's the Drake formula of I don't like this. Oh yes, I do like this.
It was just pre-Drake. Yeah. So that's what Buzz is for the third floor.
He stands sentinel like guarding.
You gotta pay the troll toll. I'd like to highlight something in a series that you and I have going, which is things I would never in a million years say to my mother. Mm-hmm. I am upstairs, dummy. Oh my God.
Never.
What would have happened to you if you said, first of all, let's exclude the fourth word. If you just, after saying, like mid punishment, like, I am upstairs,
that would elicit a reaction. I think the dummy, I think I would have been slapped in the face, like hard, open hand, like so stunned at the audacity of it that they would involuntarily smack me across the face. I didn't get like hit a lot as a kid, but I think if I had said that, like it just wouldn't have gone well.
Yeah, that would be deep primal response. Just your body just physically says, well, I'm slapping this kid. You don't say that to your mother.
I do think that what's more realistic is the back and forth they have before that as she's dragging him upstairs. That's when she has that line, there are 15 people in this house and you're the only one causing trouble.
It's one of the few that we get overdubbed later. I don't want to do too much forward looking, but I do really enjoy hearing the different versions.
Yeah. Because the different takes as he's remembering them. But he has the natural comeback of, I'm the only one getting dumped on.
And he's 100% right. Like, I think we talked about this maybe 4 minutes ago. But the way that he's treated versus the way that Buzz is treated is just wild.
Mm-hmm.
He is the only one getting dumped on. And he's in this weird middle place, which I get. It's part of the story. I'm picking up on it. I'm not that dense, but he's right, which is why we feel okay following him on this journey, I think.
He's justified in his anger because we've been seeing things from his perspective for a while now, and we're on his side even though he's flawed. He's helpless and he's acting out, but we're still on his side. Which is a tough character to make. It's tough to love a character in this first act when they clearly have lessons to learn. But this movie does it so well. That's why I love it.
One thing I noticed that Kate does not refute is knowledge of Fuller.
It's the known secret of this family.
Because he goes, you know about Fuller. And instead of her going like, I don't know what you're talking about, she's like, fair. We will find somewhere else to put him. Like, you know what? Point taken. She doesn't even try. Because, like, if that wasn't a well-known open secret within the family, she would have put up at least the slightest bit of pushback. But zero pushback on that.
Well, it's a weird concession to make for a kid who's in trouble, though. This isn't reverse psychology or anything working. This is Kevin saying, I don't want to sleep with Fuller. He'll pee all over me. And she goes, fine. When really, in the heat of the moment, she's angry with Kevin. And a more likely course to take is, yeah, well, you should have thought about that before you were such a jerk. And Piss Boy's going to be up here in a few minutes.
Well, and I think that's where my head is at, is that you're right. If it was just his preferences, she'd be like, well, tough. And then someone from downstairs goes, what'd you say? And then Kate goes, I told Kevin tough.
Sleep in a garbage bag tonight, kid.
She would, like you say, in the heat of the moment, say tough. But what I'm saying is, it's so clear that Fuller would actually be a problem that she actually would feel bad being like, oh yeah, I would be sending someone up to waterboard you. Like, I want to punish you, but I don't want that.
Like, it's too harsh.
Right.
She's definitely not protecting Fuller in this moment. She's not thinking of like, Kevin's mad, so I'm going to keep Fuller out of his way. She's not being protective of Fuller here. She's being protective of Kevin.
Yeah. She's not doing punishment out of anger. She's actually trying to teach him a lesson, I think.
What I think is a really great delivery is, well, it's two. It's back to back. When Kevin decides to try a different approach.
Yes. Oh, it's so good.
And he goes, I'm sorry. Which I think is a parenthetical written in the script that like he tries the sweet approach or something like that.
Yeah.
But what Catherine O'Hara does right after it is amazing. she doesn't say it with anger. She says it like with a little bit of spiteful glee behind it. Too late.
It's too late. And she grins. She's
Yeah.
like a Cheshire cat.
There are 8 worse ways to deliver that line, and she does it so good.
You're exactly right. It's both. I'm sorry. It's too late.
She knows exactly what he's doing here. She's letting him know it's not going to work.
It's an exchange that has 30 different exchanges buried within it.
Yeah, but they both nail it. I love it so much.
I think this film qualifies for a level of recognition that would warrant something like a minute by minute breakdown type of.
That would be interesting.
Like if someone were to take the film on a minute by minute basis and find that literally every minute is just chock full of value.
Yeah, I would listen to that.
Would you send them feedback via Gmail?
It would be great. It would be great. Jerod, gotta say, been checking the Home Alone minute at gmail.com. Just nothing. Just a bunch of
Is it like a wallet? You open it and flies, or like moths come out?
I clicked on it. It was just an old hobo wearing a barrel.
Wait, you're saying you checked the inbox at thehomealoneminute@gmail.com?
Yeah.
And no one had sent anything?
We get a couple of emails from like, hey, you can make your podcast this way. Hey, here's a podcasting thing, because we're on all the podcasting things. So there's all these different companies that do podcasts, and they're like, hey, how about these features? How about this? No one is thanking us.
But have you told them about the video cards we're giving away?
The video cards?
Well, as I was saying it, I went back to the last thing I remember someone giving away on the internet, and it was a PlayStation 2. And I knew that wouldn't be of value anymore. So I was just like, well, what is of value? Like, what are people Tickle Me Elmo trampling people over for? And it's graphics cards.
There are those moments when you realize that the odds of you winning some sort of contest are pretty good, because the creators of the contest are maybe overestimating the function of the contest. It's gonna drive a lot of customers their way, and it just doesn't. And then all of a sudden, you win because you just happen to be in that place. I won free burritos for a year from my favorite burrito emporium, Willie's, by visiting every Willie's in the state of Georgia. And I think what they were hoping was that there would be this it's a mad, 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 mad world / follow that bird like madcap race between hundreds of people trying to get across the state. And it turned out it was just me and like 2 other people who bothered to do this. So it was easy winnings. And I only say that to say that if we decided to give away something just by emailing us, that could backfire pretty quickly when no one emails us. All I want is an email. Hey, email us at thehomealoneminute@gmail.com. Tell us what brand of shoes Kevin's wearing as he tromps up the steps to the 3rd floor, and we'll send you a $30 Red Lobster gift card. That's a pretty good incentive. So if we still get no emails, it's just going to feel like a kick in the pants.
But if no one emails us, we will eat burritos for a year.
That's check. Already done.
Like, I mean, we're going to keep eating burritos for a year.
Is that an incentive for people to email us? We can't let these guys eat burritos.
Right. They would be so appalled. Well, that's it. Like, bad news travels fast, right? I think people would be more incentivized to email us if they knew it somehow inconvenienced us.
Here's what I'll do. Jared. I don't want to get political. We got a little political last episode. I didn't feel proud of it.
Ooh, yeah, it was dicey.
But if we don't get an email to the homealoneminute@gmail.com, at least saying the words "nice podcast," I'm voting for Donald Trump in November.
Whoa.
I'm doing it. I live in a swing state. It's
Does it have to,
very purple down here.
Does it have to be a verified email? Because you know that you've just launched a few bot emails.
You think
just
so?
By saying that.
Oh,
yeah.
No. Wow.
So like what level of verification do you need?
I don't need like a picture of someone holding today's newspaper or anything.
You could just have a picture of today's newspaper.
If you email us at thehomealoneminute@gmail.com, we will send you today's newspaper.
Ooh.
A free copy. I won't do the crossword. You can do it.
In your email, include whether you would like the crossword done or not.
I'll prime it for you. I'll look at all the real easy clues and I won't fill them out. But then I'll see a couple of the tougher clues and I will. I'll do all of the like French rivers and Asian capital cities and stuff like that. I'll do the tough ones and I'll leave the rest for you. That is my promise and that is my threat.
Yeah, you've got some honey and some vinegar. So I like it.
Here's an alternative possibility, Jerod, that maybe we're doing such an excellent, exhaustive, comprehensive job of talking about each minute of Home Alone that everyone who listens ends an episode and says, no notes.
That is the most likely situation.
That we're just doing too good of a job.
I think it's about giving that direct feedback. It's just about asking, because we're possibly garnering an audience that don't have words of affirmation as their love language.
They just want to cuddle with us and they can't through an email.
Right.
Tell you what, I'm going to start inserting a mistake intentionally in our conversations in an effort to inspire the pedants listening to write in to correct us.
It's going to take all that I have not to be that person.
So I think there's one last thing I wanted to talk about because I think our minute ends here as Kevin tromps up the stairs in his pair of Reeboks.
Whoa.
Is the production design of this stairwell going up to the third floor. We're not in the third floor yet, but we see pieces. And I think they do a really good job of making it a lived-in space. There's a box of stuff halfway up the stairs, which is a perfect illustration of Buzz being told to take this box upstairs. And he gets halfway up and he says, that's good enough. That's perfect. But also, Jerod, what I think is really great is the wallpaper on this narrow corridor. There's a hole in the wall. The wallpaper is torn up on both sides because they've been moving furniture in and out of this third floor for years now. And it's very narrow. It's super lived in, which I just really, really love. Like the rest of the house is pristine, but this third floor really is. The third floor and the basement are like they're the ignored areas of the house, right? They're the dark recesses of the mind. They're where they put their detritus. That's where they put Kevin because they don't want to deal with them. The same way that this is where they're going to put the baby crib that they haven't needed for 6 years. Still up there, right? This is where they put their trash. And it's where Kevin's going.
So 2 things. One is this was the Star Wars versus Star Trek and other sci-fi generally before that conversation, is that Star Wars was arguably the first and best version of lived in, because a lot of sci-fi up until that point had everything sort of perfect. Everything was clean lines, and it was futuristic, sure, but it didn't look lived in. And Star Wars did a really good job of kind of changing that. And 2, I think I've been pronouncing detritus wrong.
Oh, did I pronounce it wrong? I said detritus. And you say detritus?
Is it tomato?
Can we?
Or am I just flat wrong?
Can we call the whole thing off? You were right.
Ooh, okay. A rare one in that particular arena.
No, this is one of those things where you read a word and you've never heard anyone say it before. Hold on, let me loop it in. Detritus. All right, I'm going to loop that in later, so no one knows I made a mistake. But please send me some emails about it.
Look what you did, you little jerk. It's way breathier when he does it later.
I told you I was going to insert one error into the...
Yeah, that's it. Just leave that.
The Reebok thing, I was just kidding. We all know I was kidding about that, but no one says detritus. What am I, an idiot? I don't think so. I have 3 college degrees. I know how to pronounce words. Look at all these degrees.
Minute 12.